You're listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show with your host, Brad Brock.
Good morning, Jammers. Happy Monday to you out there. Oh, goodness. It is early in the morning. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with all of you out there tuning in. Thank you for doing that. JNC here in the morning over on YouTube or on the LIVE365 Radio App on JNC Radio. A great way to listen to the show while you're driving and not being distracted by my beautiful face. Appreciate you tuning in wherever you're tuning in. What a weekend. For me, it was jam smashed with tons of stuff. It was nonstop. To say I'm exhausted is to say the least. And it's not even over for me. I still have another show tonight to perform. But it was great. Friday night I played at Chuck's Seafood in Fort Pierce, and that was a wonderful time. It was interesting though. I got there, and I guess it's fair that we haven't gotten a lot of rain over the last few days, and it was low tide when I arrived. But you could walk out almost 100 feet, and it was all just dry land. It was crazy. I had never seen the tide that low in the Fort Pierce Inlet before in my life. It was wild. I almost just wanted to walk out there just to see. Chuck's actually put in his dock. They put in a little floating dock right off of the building, and it was completely all the way out to the end of the dock was dry land. Now, of course, the tide started coming in as the night progressed, and by the time my show ended, it looked as though, as it always looks, and the water was just fine. But I thought that was interesting. I was blown away, and let me tell you what, if you guys have not been, if you're sleeping on Chuck's Seafood in Fort Pierce, you gotta go, and if you're willing to shell out a couple bucks. I highly recommend the stuffed grouper. It was divine. Really, really nice. You ever had a meal so good that when it ends, you wish it wasn't ending? You wish that it was still, there was still some left? That's exactly how I was left feeling. Really, really a delicious meal. If you're in town, Phillip, you got to check out Chuck's Seafood in Fort Pierce. Saturday night, I played at the Island Beach Bar on Hutchinson Island in Fort Pierce as well. And Jordan's little sister is the bartender there, and not so little. She's turning 23, or already is 23. I don't know. It blows my mind. I watched this kid grow up, but so she was there bartending, and we had a great time. What a wonderful crowd there, right up my alley in terms of the type of music that I play. And we had fun dancing, and it was a great time. So another place not to sleep on. I also had a seafood dinner there. Let me tell you what, this was a decadent weekend for feasting for me, because I had a lovely surf and turf there at the Island Beach Bar, and they really do a knockout job. It was really, really nice. So don't sleep on Island Beach Bar either. And right after that show, we went over to 2nd Street Bistro, which is the sister company, downtown Fort Pierce. Had a beer and ran into some good friends. And really just a wonderful Saturday night. Hanging out with my favorite girl. That's Jordan, of course. And then Sunday, let me tell you what, late nights and early mornings are a terrible combination. And the Sunday morning at the market on Main in Stewart, which is a little green market or a little farmer's market, was no exception. That was a rough start, but it was a beautiful day. There was a nice breeze. And, of course, all my favorite vendors there, the Bug Juice. People were there, Tim and Jess. So it's nice to be around friends, and got to see some friends. that were out there hanging out. So despite my frail psyche and body from a long night the night before and a long day, because on Saturday morning I played at the farmers market in Vero Beach, so it was a double. But I got home and had a little bite to eat, and I took a very long nap on the couch, and it was wonderful. So that was my weekend. Of course, tonight I'll be at Blue Point Bar and Grill in Tequesta from 6 to 9. So you got one more chance to see me before I take a couple of days to focus on the Jams and Cocktails podcast. We have Ricky B, an amazing singer-songwriter and loop artist. So that's going to be a great show, but I got to get my life together for that. And then back at it, of course. The weather today, there's supposed to be some showers earlier this morning, but then mostly sunny here in South Florida through the rest of the day. There's going to be a few inland storms, and the highs will be in the lower 90s. Maybe we'll get an updated forecast before this show ends, so I'll look for that on a break. Yeah, tons of stories. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. We're gonna talk about a few of those things. We'll talk about some national days and some celebrity birthdays. Interesting. On this day back in 2013, did you know the British government was trying to stop American Idol singer Kelly Clarkson from taking a rare turquoise and gold ring once owned by Jane Austen out of the country? The winner of the Idol TV show bought the jewelry at an auction last year for more than £150,000, but Culture Minister Ed Vasey had put a temporary export bar on it, saying he wanted the national treasure to be saved for the nation. What do you do? I mean, the lady bought it at an auction. And it's just, how would you feel if you bought something at an auction that you loved and you were taking it home? And I would say, okay, England, buy it back from me. I see both sides of this. Okay, so I'm not completely against the culture minister. I understand the value of a historical item like that. But the real question is, how did it end up on the auction block to begin with? The world may never know. Going a little back further in time on this day, back in the millennium, year of 2000, Madonna's forthcoming single Music had its release date brought forward by 2 weeks after the track was made available as an illegal MP3 file on the internet. What a time to be alive. Artists were maneuvering around their careers in this new world of people stealing music on the internet. That was a big deal back then. It's still a big deal now, but I think the reins have been kind of pulled in, and the industry has kind of recovered from that concept of getting music however you want. But back in 2000, that was new. That was a new thing to navigate. And, of course, going a little further back in time, back to 1971, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour started on primetime American TV. Now, by this time, Sonny and Cher had stopped producing hit singles, so the duo decided to sing and tell jokes in nightclubs across the country. CBS head of programming Fred Silverman saw them one evening and offered them their own show, and, of course, the rest is history. That was a big day for music. August 1st. We'll dive into our first musical break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about a very sad loss in the sci-fi world. We'll tell you who it was when we come back. You're listening to Jams and Coffee in the Morning. We'll be right back.
ask no question, let the rhythm be the remedy. We can't silence my enemies. Who's meant to be will always be. This is your destiny. They can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. Nah, nah, no, nah, nah, no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. Obligation, controls the population. No imitation, you know that we're not faking. You give my mind right, free my soul. So I am singing upon the microphone, and they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no. Dreaming clear but fast from reasons, spitting verses through the mind like it's my purpose. Never perfect, open the curtain, call the masses. Use your imagination and imagine the nation singing. They can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. Stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 no. Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no. La ba ba la ba. La ba ba la ba. La ba ba la ba.
Is kind of short and fat. You know, it may sound funny, but I like her like that. Yeah, I like her like that. Yes, I like her like that. You know, it may sound funny, but honey, I like her like that. Girl looked was big and tall. Her head was in the bed, but her feet was in the hall. Man, I like her like that. Damn, I liked her like that. There was footprints on the ceiling, showed that I'm feeling. Yeah, I liked her like that. Teeth, but she was so sweet, you know it's what's underneath. Man, I like her like that. Damn, I like her just like that. You know it may sound gummy, but honey, I like her like that. The boy loved to story, yeah, that's one. You know you wanna have a good life, gonna have fun. Find yourself a good gal, you'll never be alone. You know beauty skin deep, but that mean it'll cut you clean to the bone. Girl loves kind of short and fat. You know it makes you sound funny, but I like her like that. Yeah, I like her like that. Yeah, I like you just like that. You know it may sound funny, but honey, I like her like that. Oh, the moral of the story, yeah, that's one. You know you wanna have a good life, gonna have fun. Find yourself a good gal, you'll never be alone. You know beauty skin deep, but that mean it'll cut you clean to the bone.
Listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show.
Yeah, that's right. You're listening to Jams and Coffee here in the morning. It's shaping up to be pretty nice outside right now. As I mentioned, though, kind of a sad story over the weekend here for sci-fi fans around the world. This groundbreaking Star Trek star passed away, and it was Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Uhura in the original series and through the films, starring alongside, of course, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and such. Her son announced the news of her death on her Instagram, saying that she died from natural causes. Nichols, as I mentioned, played Uhura in the original Star Trek television series, and at the time she was one of the first black women to play a major role in a television series. Her son said hers was a life well lived, and as such a model for all of us. Nicole's acting career spanned decades. She's listed in credits from the 1960s to 2021, and some films are still in pre-production, IMDb reports. Nichelle Nichols was 89 years old, and the services will be for family members and close friends, her son said. So, sail on, Nichelle Nichols. End of an era for many Star Trek fans. Very sad. So also, some more sad news. Not quite that sad, but this was pretty substantial. Jordan actually sent me this article last week, and it hits close to my heart because in Philadelphia, fire heavily damaged legendary restaurant Jim's Steaks on South Street in Philadelphia. Firefighters say a blaze at Jim's Steaks in South Philly has been brought under control more than 4 hours after it started. The fire was reported around 9:15 a.m. on Friday in the popular cheesesteak shop, 400 block of South Street. Smoke continued to pour out of the building into the early afternoon, and it was finally declared under control at 1:30. The fire alarm reached 2 alarms as more crews were called in. Officials said it was a difficult battle because the flames were moving through the heating and air conditioning system. Christina Lawler was in the building Friday morning opening Jim's Steaks for the day. She said, I knew it when I walked in this morning. Something wasn't right because it was too hot. She said, I started smelling something. It smelled electrical. You know, you can smell that. She continued, so I'm like, something's not right. We looked up and saw smoke coming down from where the walk-in is, and it was smoke pouring down. In all, the fire department says more than 125 personnel responded to the scene, along with nearly 60 vehicles. And companies will remain there to douse hotspots. This was on Friday, so I'm sure that's probably sorted out now. The fire marshal's office will investigate the cause, the department says. Philly resident Nicole Weigand said there are fire trucks almost at every block in the neighborhood. It seems like an all-out, hands-on-deck situation, which is kind of scary. Another resident said, I feel really sad for our neighborhood. It's like our little corner of the world can't catch a break recently. I just hope everyone continues to support all the businesses that are here the best they can. Chopper 6, that sounds very official. Chopper 6, over the scene, showed crews using ladders and spraying water on all sides of the building, front and back. At one point, firefighters could be seen on the second floor of the building breaking windows. No injuries were reported. The people inside the building were already evacuating the building by the time firefighters arrived. There are no apartments above gyms. All the space above the restaurant is used for storage. The building next door is also commercial property. Unfortunately, Jim Steaks South Street just celebrated its 46th year earlier this month, opening its doors for the first time in 1976. So hopefully they get that fixed up and sorted out. Love Jim's Steaks. Anytime I was ever in Philly. So sad that that's happening. On some celebrity birthdays today, some interesting ones to boot. Let's see here. Turning 43 today as actor Jason Momoa. Became known to audiences as Khal Drogo in the hit HBO series Game of Thrones. But I remember seeing him for the very first time when he played Ronan Dex on Stargate Atlantis from 2005 to 2009. That's where I remember him from. He portrays Aquaman in the DC film universe, and debuting in the 2016 film Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, followed by Justice League, and, of course, Aquaman. But before he became a famous actor, he was a model and earned Hawaii's Model of the Year in 1999. But he got his very first acting gig on screen with David Hasselhoff back in Baywatch. So, Jason Momoa, happy birthday, buddy. Another wild one that I can't completely wrap my head around. Turning 59 today. Rapper Coolio. You guys remember Coolio? Gangster's Paradise? Well, that's what he was best known for, which won the MTV Video Music Award for Best Rap Video back in '96. And he's also known for performing the opening theme for the '90s Nickelodeon show Kenan and Kel. Coolio. God, 59. Another huge birthday. Sadly, is no longer with us. But Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia would be 80 years old today had he survived. But unfortunately, he died at 53 years old back in 1995. Of course, Jerry Garcia, not just the inspiration for Cherry Garcia, the ice cream, but he was the guiding force of the Grateful Dead during their 30-year career. He was ranked the 13th greatest guitarist of all time by Rolling Stone magazine. Did you know he lost 2/3 of his right middle finger in a wood chopping accident? And it gave him his unique style of guitar playing. Now, don't go out there trying to chop off your finger. So be a better guitar player. That just sounds counterproductive. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994, just before he passed away. Did you know Bobby Weir, the rhythm guitarist for the Grateful Dead, he spread Jerry Garcia's ashes into the Ganges River in India back in 1996. So he would have been 80 years old today. Isn't that interesting? Gone too soon. Joe Elliott, the singer for Def Leppard, celebrating a birthday today. He's turning 63. Singer Adam Duritz from one of my favorite bands, the Counting Crows, is turning 58 years old today, which also blows my mind. Of course, they're wildly known for their hit song "Mr. Jones," among other big hits. "Accidentally in Love" from the Shrek film, "Big Yellow Taxi," which was used in some films. Their cover of the Joni Mitchell song. Love the Counting Crows. Love them. So happy birthday, Adam. Guitarist Robert Cray, blues guitarist Robert Cray, is turning 69 years old. Happy birthday out there, all those celebrities. Also have some national days going on today. This one I feel like it's really kind of parent-centric here. This is today is International Child Free Day, which occurs each year on August 1st. On this day, you can show your support and honor those willing to choose to live a child-free life. As they say, raising children is a rewarding life. Having family seems like the next big step in our quest through adulthood. However, some choose to remain childless. Known initially as Non-Parents Day, this special day reminds us having children should be a choice, not an expectation. I'm childless, and Jordan is childless as well. So we enjoy a child-free lifestyle as for now. No plans. So I guess this is a day for us. Also, today is Respect for Parents Day. On August 1st, Respect for Parents Day recognizes the leadership roles parents play in not only a child's life, but also in our communities. Parents provide their children with the first expression of love and sense of security. As protectors and nurturers, parents set a foundation for leading and teaching children to be responsible. Each parent provides a form of communication and a way of making decisions and correcting mistakes. Also, for you parents out there, we should have respect for you. Let's see. It's also National Girlfriends Day. Don't worry, guys. You're not on the hook for this one. On August 1st, National Girlfriends Day encourages women across the U.S. to get together and celebrate their special bond of friendship. Girlfriends fall into many categories. While many grew up together, others meet through work or college. Still others share a bond much deeper. Sisters and mothers meet the definition of girlfriends too. Though these type of relationships cross our minds frequently, we often fail to set aside time to spend with each other. The day promotes the laughter and joys girlfriends bring. Rarely do girlfriends let another go it alone. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk. Not only do they enjoy spending time together, they support each other too. While laughing and sharing secrets, girlfriends offer advice and celebrate successes. And it's time for a glass of wine, a chat over a cup of coffee, or go out for a long walk. Girlfriends are there. So happy National Girlfriends Day as well. And another national day today is National Raspberry Cream Pie Day. Finally, something delicious. And it takes advantage of the ripe berries available this time of year. If you're fortunate enough to enjoy some fresh-baked raspberry cream pie, it's a day to celebrate. So Get out there and celebrate your national days. It was a good time. We got some local news. A popular Port Salerno mainstay and landmark is closing, or has closed, has officially closed. I'm going to tell you what that place was when we come back from this break. Don't go away. Here's one from Allegra Miles.
You hit me up that day in October, and you said you wanted to be my only lover. We hadn't met, so I didn't get why you were moving so fast. Gave it a month, you start to get obsessive. Wrap me all around your finger, you're so possessive. Still hadn't met, somehow you made me forget all the things I looked past. You got me so good for so long, and I couldn't see anything was wrong. You made me believe it all, but now I know it was all lies, lies. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies. Got the best of me, you're tear right now, those lies, lies. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies. 4 months go by, you were second nature, consuming all my breath 'cause you're such a manipulator. Started to sink, but you made me think that it was all in my head. Oh, so did you think you'd never blow your cover? I never find out and I'd always be a lover. You know exactly what you were doing to me. You'd do anything in your power just to keep me blind. Got me so good for so long, and I couldn't see anything was wrong. You made me believe it all, but now I know it was all lies, lies. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies. Got the best of me, you're tear right now, those lies, lies. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies. Lies, messing with my head right now, lies. Got the best of me until right now, lies. Messing with my head right now, lies. It was all lies, said it was all lies, said it was all. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies. Got the best of me until right now, those lies, lies. Yeah, you're messing with my head right now, those lies, lies.
I got a bird, wanna whistle. Baby's got a bird, honey's got a bird, we'll sing. My baby's got a bird, honey's got a bird, we'll sing. But without my Karina, I sure don't mean a natural thing. Oh, I learned to love you, a honey for my heart, love, babe for my heart, love, soul. A honey for my heart, love, babe for my heart, love, soul. I wouldn't trade your love for money. Honey, you're my love life, baby, you're my love life thing. like honey and my heart like soul. Got me a rainbow around my shoulder. Looks like silver, baby shines like Klondike gold. I got a bird, got a whistle. My baby's got a bird, horn's got a bird, we sing. My baby's got a bird, horn's got a bird, we sing. But without my Karina, I sure don't mean to dance a thing.
Micah Scott with his rendition of Karina. Manatee Island in Port Salerno closes up shop to make room for a new restaurant. Currently, the Fort Pierce location is still open, but it is for sale. That is where I play on alternating Thursday evenings. It's been home to me for a few years now. But yeah, the end of an era in the Manatee Pocket, which the little area in downtown Port Salerno has been come to be known. Manatee Island Bar and Grill in Port Salerno closed Thursday after over 12 years in business. Co-owner Paul Ganella, who is retiring, said, "It's so bittersweet. I go from teary-eyed sadness to elation and back to the sadness and back to the elation." He and his best friend and business partner, Michael Politano, bought the property back in November 2009 and opened the restaurant in January 2010. Ganella wrote on the restaurant's Facebook page, "In the last 5 years of my life, I've beaten cancer, survived a boat explosion, divorced a 22-year marriage, and been through numerous other personal tragedies. Michael Politano recently turned 60, and I will be 60 on my next birthday," he wrote. "I now have a 7-year-old grandson, and this is a young man's game. We are all parting with one of our 2 restaurants." The Manatee Island Bar and Grill on Seaway Drive at Fort Pierce remains open but is up for sale. The Port Salerno location has been sold to the owners of Arabiatas. I'm butchering that, but it's an Italian restaurant in Boynton Beach. My buddy Brian made it into this article. He said, for the past 6 years, 37-year-old Brian Defansky, Port St. Lucie, has always had a beer at the inside bar after he gets off of work at the nearby Shrimpers Grill and Bar. He said, "I don't know what we're going to do now." Brian knows the area well, having lived in Port Salerno and on his boat in the Manatee Pocket. He said he'd like to see something with the same vibe, not upscale. Said it's always been the laid-back, kick-your-feet-up fisherman-type crowd. It's not like collared shirts, and it's like shorts and T-shirts and beers and fun. Nick Johnson, 35, became a regular customer after he moved to Port Salerno in 2019 from L.A. to take care of his 92-year-old grandmother. He said, "I was like, I have to get out one night a week," he said, so he started coming over there. He met a regular who asked where he was from and introduced him to the entire bar. At that moment, I was like, why would I go back to L.A.? That was such an act of kindness that you never see or hear about anywhere in Los Angeles, ever. He just brought me in super fast, and I felt very welcomed. Right on, Nick. The restaurant helped him realize Florida is where he wanted to live. He started going there every Friday night to listen to live music. He even worked in the kitchen for a couple of months. He said regulars probably don't go to the other nearby eateries because they feel more like restaurants, whereas Manatee Island felt more like home. It was a very unique atmosphere in here, he said. It was almost like you're showing up at a family gathering at a barbecue on the weekend. So, R.I.P. Manatee Island in Salerno. It was a cool place. I can't believe it. I feel like just a year ago or just a couple of years ago, they put in that whole brand new tiki bar put out there, and maybe it was to up the value of the property. I'm not sure, but we'll see what goes in there. So I'll stay on top of it and report on what goes in to the old Manatee Island spot there. This story here was interesting because last year, Jordan actually was talking about it in the Geordie Files on one of the Jams and Cocktails podcasts. And here's a follow-up to that story because we never heard another thing about it. But Bob Dylan's back in the news. Not for selling an NFT this time. But a judge actually dismissed the lawsuit accusing Bob Dylan of sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl in the 60s. The story goes, the plaintiff voluntarily dropped the case on Thursday, according to court documents. Manhattan federal judge Catherine Polk Fiala officially dismissed the filing with prejudice, meaning the case cannot be retried. Dylan's lawyers on Wednesday claimed the plaintiff failed to present court-ordered documents, including text messages and emails. Dylan's lawyer said the plaintiff, now a woman aged in her 60s, identified in the lawsuit by the initials JC, destroyed evidence directly relevant to the central factual allegations in this litigation. Oren Snyder, lead counsel for Dylan, said, "The case is over. It's outrageous that it was ever brought in the first place." He added that the case was a lawyer-driven sham, and he's pleased about the dismissal. In 2021, last year, the lawsuit accused Dylan of befriending the plaintiff, quote, to lower her inhibitions with the object of sexually abusing her, which he did, coupled with the provision of drugs, alcohol, and threats of physical violence, leaving her emotionally scarred and psychologically damaged to this day, end quote. The lawsuit alleged the abuse occurred at Dylan's apartment at the Hotel Chelsea in New York City when the plaintiff was only 12 years old. In a statement after the filing last year, a spokesperson for Dylan said the 56-year-old claim is untrue and will be vigorously defended. CNN has reached out to the plaintiff's lawyers for comment. Dylan has sold more than 125 million records during his career. Some of his most famous songs include The Times They Are A-Changin', Like a Rolling Stone, and Blowin' in the Wind. 2008, Bob Dylan won a Pulitzer Prize, special citation for his profound impact on popular music and American culture, marked by lyrical compositions of extraordinary poetic power. In 2016, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for having created new poetic expressions within a great American song tradition. So, Bob Dylan emerging from that allegation unscathed. 56. Listen, I will never put a cap on anybody coming forward to tell the truth about something. So whether it was 56 years or 1,056 years, if there's something that needs to come out, I think it should. So I guess we'll never know what the truth really is, but you can only look at it through what is presented, and as it is, it's been dismissed, and Bob Dylan is cleared of that allegation. So how about that? I found this interesting article. There's a new diving robot. It's designed to explore shipwrecks at the bottom of the ocean. The robot created at Stanford University in California is diving down to shipwrecks and sunken planes in a way that humans can't. Known as Ocean 1K, the robot allows its operators to feel like they're underwater explorers too. The Ocean 1K resembles a human diver from the front with arms and hands and eyes that have 3D vision, capturing the underwater world in full color. The back of the robot has computers and 8 multi-directional thrusters that help it carefully maneuver the sights of fragile, sunken ships. When an operator at the ocean's surface uses controls to direct Ocean 1K, the robot's haptic, touch-based feedback system causes the person to feel the water's resistance as well as the contours of artifacts. That's pretty dope. Ocean 1K's realistic sight and touch capabilities are enough to make people feel like they're diving down to the depths without the dangers or immense underwater pressure a human diver would experience. Which is great for me, because as most people know about me, I live on the top of the water, not underneath it. So this is my opportunity. Stanford University roboticist Usama Khatib and his students teamed up with deep-sea archaeologists and began sending the robot on dives in September. The team just finished another underwater expedition in July, which was last month already. Can you believe it? So far, Ocean 1K has explored a sunken Beechcraft Baron F-GDPV plane, an Italian steamship, Le Francisco Crispy. It does say crispy. A 2nd century Roman ship off of Corsica, a World War II P-38 Lightning aircraft, and a submarine called Le Prote. The Crispy sits about 1,640 feet below the surface of the Mediterranean Sea. Khatib said, "You are moving very close to this amazing structure, and something incredible happens when you touch it. You actually feel it." I never experienced anything like that in my life. I could say I'm the one who touched the Crispy at 500 meters, and I did. I touched it. I felt it. Ocean 1K could be just the beginning of a future where robots take on underwater exploration, too dangerous for humans, and help us see oceans in a completely new way. Let's talk about creating an underwater robot. The challenge in creating Ocean 1K and its predecessor, Ocean 1, was building a robot that can endure an underwater environment and the immense pressure at various depths. Ocean 1 made its debut in 2016, exploring King Louis's wrecked flagship La Lune, which sits 328 feet below the Mediterranean Sea, 20 miles off of southern France. The 1664 shipwreck remained untouched by humans. The robot recovered a vase about the size of a grapefruit, and Khatib felt the sensations in his hands when Ocean 1 touched the vase before placing it in a recovery basket. The idea for Ocean 1 came from a desire to study coral reefs within the Red Sea at depths beyond the normal range for divers. The Stanford team wanted to create something that came as close to a human diver as possible, integrating artificial intelligence, advanced robotics, and haptic feedback. The robot is about 5 feet long, and its brain can register how carefully it must handle an object without breaking it, like coral or sea-weathered artifacts. An operator can control the bot, but it's outfitted with sensors and uploaded with algorithms so it can function autonomously and avoid collisions. While Ocean 1 was designed to reach maximum depths of 656 feet, researchers had a new goal. They wanted to go 1 kilometer down, hence the new name, Ocean 1K. The team changed the robot's body for using special foam that includes glass microspheres to increase buoyancy and combat the pressures of 1,000 meters. That's more than 100 times what humans experience at sea level. The researchers upgraded the robot's arms with an oil and spring mechanism that prevents compression as it descends to the ocean depths. And Ocean 1K also got 2 new types of hands and increased arm and head motion. The project comes with challenges he's never seen in any other system, said Wesley Guo, a doctoral student at Stanford's School of Engineering. Requires a lot of out-of-the-box thinking to make those solutions work. The team used Stanford's recreation pool to test out the robot and run through experiments such as carrying a video camera on a boom and collecting objects. Then came the ultimate test for Ocean 1K. And, of course, that's deep dives. The Mediterranean tour that began in 2021 saw Ocean 1Ks diving to these successive depths, 406 feet to the submarine, 1,095 feet to the Roman ship remains, and ultimately half a mile down to prove it has the capability of diving to nearly 1 kilometer. But it wasn't without problems. Guo and another Stanford doctoral student, Adrian Pedra, had to fix one of the robot's disabled arms on the deck of their boat at night during a storm. That's like walking to school uphill both ways in the snow. To me, the robot is 8 years in the making, Pedra said. You have to understand how every single part of this robot is functioning. What are all of the things that can go wrong, and things are always going to go wrong. So it's always like a puzzle. Being able to dive deep into the ocean and exploring some wrecks that would have never been seen this close up is very rewarding. During Ocean 1K's deep dive in February, team members discovered the robot couldn't ascend when they stopped for a thruster check. Flotations on the communications and power line had collapsed, causing the line to pile on top of the robot. They were able to pull in the slack, and Ocean 1K's descent was a success. They dropped off a commemorative marker on the seabed that reads, "A robot's first touch of the deep seafloor, a vast new world for humans to explore." Wow. Poet, and they didn't even know it. Khatib, the professor of computer science, called the experience an incredible journey. It's the first time that a robot has been capable of going to such depths, interacting with the environment, and permitting the human operator to feel that environment. In July, the team revisited the Roman ship and the Crispy. While the former has all but disappeared, its cargo remains scattered across the seafloor, Khatib said. At the site of the Roman ship, Ocean 1K successfully collected ancient vases and oil lamps, which still bear their manufacturer's name. The robot carefully placed a boom camera inside the Crispy's fractured hull to capture video of corals and rust formations while bacteria feast on the ship's iron. We go all the way to France for the expedition, and there, surrounded by a much larger team coming from a wide array of backgrounds, you realize that the piece of this robot you've been working on at Stanford is actually part of something much bigger, Pedra said. You get a sense of how important it is, how novel and significant the dive is going to be, and what this means for science overall. A project born from an idea in 2014 has a long future of planned expeditions to lost underwater cities, coral reefs, and deep wrecks. The innovations of Ocean 1K also lay the groundwork for safer underwater engineering projects such as repairing boats, piers, and pipelines. One upcoming mission will explore a sunken steamboat, the in Lake Titicaca. I'm a child. On the border of Peru and Bolivia. But Khatib and his team have even bigger dreams for the project, and that's space. Khatib said the European Space Agency has expressed interest in the robot. A haptic device aboard the International Space Station would allow astronauts to interact with the robot. They can interact with him in deep water, and this would be amazing because this would simulate the task of doing this on a different planet or different moon. So, very interesting stuff. A huge film is coming back to theaters for its 40th anniversary. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you what it is. Here's one from Sandman Sleeps.
pleasure. I can choose what to believe. Tell the truth. What is the nature of your business here? I have too many appointments to attend to. Dig in, take a final breath. Dig in, take 'em to the end. Dig in, you'll be alright. Close your eyes and you'll feel alive. Will it hurt? If I can, I like to be asleep so I can dream. I can dream. Oh, and one more thing. I have some things I need to say to you. I'll apologize just in time. Dig in, take your final breath. Dig in, take 'em to the end. Dig in, you'll be alright. Close your eyes and you'll feel alive. You walk tall, but it don't make you a man. Ran out of time, you're running out of sand. You should have did the things you said you do. Death with regret, the punishment for you. Dig in, take your final breath. Dig in, take 'em to the end. Dig in, you'll be alright. Close your eyes and you will feel alive. Dig in, take your final breath. Dig in, take 'em to the end. Dig in, you'll be alright. Close your eyes and you'll feel alive.
All right, we're back here at JNC in the morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. YouTube and the Live365 Radio App. Whatever you're doing, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and add us to your favorites. The app is dope. I'm still really impressed with Live365's updates to the app. So if you like local stuff, independent stuff, check out that app. Be sure to add JNC Radio to your favorites there. A huge blockbuster is returning to movie theaters for its 40th anniversary. Any guesses out there? Don't even worry about it. I'm going to tell you. E.T. E.T. is returning to theaters. An extraterrestrial is set to visit a movie theater near you this August. But don't worry. He's been here before. E.T. the extraterrestrial is returning to AMC theaters on August 12th in celebration of the film's 40th anniversary. For the first time ever, the film will be shown on a giant IMAX screen and with digitally remastered sound and picture. So even if you've seen the film many times before, this is sure to be a different experience. Tickets are on sale now, and because it's only for one day, if you want to attend, you may want to make sure you grab your tickets right away. Of course, directed by Steven Spielberg, E.T.'s Extraterrestrial is centered around a 10-year-old boy played by Henry Thomas, who befriends a lost alien and helps him find his way home. Also, of course, starring a young Drew Barrymore and Robert McNaughton, the film was released in 1982 and became the highest-grossing film for the year, pulling in more than $435 million at the box office, including more than $11 million in the first week alone. It also won 4 Oscars and dozens of other awards, including People's Choice Award for Favorite Motion Picture in 1983. Now, if you can't make it to the theater on August 12th, you can rent the film on Amazon Prime or purchase a 20th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray for $12. The Anniversary Edition includes deleted scenes and on-set production footage, so you can take a peek behind the scenes and a look at the making of the film. E.T., the Extraterrestrial, is far from the first film to return to theaters in celebration of a milestone anniversary. Titanic sailed back into the theaters for the film's 20th anniversary back in 2017. The Sandlot returned for its 25th anniversary. Steel Magnolias returned for its 30th anniversary. And The Muppet Movie returned to celebrate 40 years in theaters as well. You guys remember any Floridians? Do you guys remember the E.T. ride at Universal? Is that still a thing? Does that still exist, or have they closed that down? I can't remember. I thought I heard something about it closing, which would be devastating, especially now that they're coming up on the 40th anniversary. But yeah, I thought I heard it could be the whatever that syndrome is, where you think you heard something or you think you know something and it's complete bunk. Anyway, I used to love that ride. I thought the miniatures were so cool, and like back in the 90s, E.T. was still pretty relevant. Loved it when I was a kid. Yeah, August 12th, that's coming up. I can't believe we're in August already, you guys. Isn't that insane? Don't you find that wild? Ugh. Well, with that terrible news, I think we should get into the JNC top 10 top 10 list here today. Here we go. All right, our JNC top 10 list today is our top 10 spokesmen with bizarre and tragic pasts. That's right. Let me pull it up here so we can talk about it. Yeah, some of these people you'll remember. Some of the people are still out there doing their thing. Let's give it a see. Number 10 here on this list. 10 spokesmen with bizarre and tragic pasts. Well, I guess I'll give you a little rundown first. No one enjoys commercials interrupting their program, especially when you see the same one repeat over and over again. It's always the same product or service, as if you forgot, pitched to you by the same faces. Think of Flo from Progressive. Then overnight, these familiar women and men disappear from the screen. Though alleviating, you question their whereabouts, considering you've only seen them a billion times in the past year. These following 10 are spokesmen you may recognize with quite the colorful backgrounds or rap sheets. So here we go. Number 10 on the list. The Trivago guy. You guys remember Trivago? I'm not even sure that company still exists anymore. I haven't heard anything about them. Tim Williams, a.k.a. the Trivago guy, he explains how Trivago works. The Trivago guy, who lends hotel advice to weary travelers, displays a demeanor as a friendly, approachable, everyday Joe. Frankly, he very well may be. One notable aspect from the commercials, however, is Tim Williams' signature disheveled, rough-and-tumble appearance. A laid-back, non-caring look as if he just rolled out of bed after a rough night in Vegas. Ironically, Williams may not be acting at all. In April of 2019, the pitchman was found by Houston police passed out behind the wheel of a car in the middle of traffic. Now, that is how to party. Following a field sobriety test, Williams was charged with misdemeanor DUI with bail set at $100. Being fortunate to maintain his job, Williams cleaned up his image for future commercial appearances, looking more polished, yet not letting go of that signature facial stubble. Now, this is an interesting one. Mike Lindell has been making waves recently in the political rounds. But he's the founder and CEO of MyPillow. And this is how he went from crack addict to self-made multimillionaire. Before Mike Lindell became a multimillionaire, he spent his life broke due to failed business ventures, all the while battling a serious cocaine addiction. In 2004, the idea for MyPillow came to him in a dream. The moments that he wasn't dedicating his time creating the perfect pillow, Lindell took up crack cocaine as his favorite pastime. His hardcore addiction, as he put it, led to the loss of his house and his wife divorcing him. At times, he would be awake for a full 2 weeks smoking crack. Nevertheless, he continued working on the project simply because he believed the idea was a message from God. On the evening of January 16th, 2009, Lindell prayed. He said, "God, I want to wake up in the morning and never have that desire again." And as luck or faith would have it, he did just that, and his journey on the road to sobriety began. By 2011, MyPillow was finally getting some media attention, and by the end of the year, he went from having 5 employees to 500. As of today, he has 1,500 employees, sold 30 million pillows, and current revenue of about $300 million a year. So you never needed an example of how to turn your life around. That's how you do it. Number 8 on this list is Allstate's Dean Winters. With an impressive resume with credentials such as John Wick and 30 Rock, you can easily recognize Dean Winters as the crazed pitchman in Allstate insurance commercials. His life behind the camera, however, nearly came to an end in 2009 when his heart stopped beating en route to the hospital. The Allstate spokesman, whose character causes mayhem wherever he goes, contracted a bacterial infection, subsequently causing cardiac arrest due to septic shock. After flatlining for around 4.5 minutes, doctors at Lenox Hill Hospital in New York miraculously brought him back to life. After 3 weeks in ICU, Winters was discharged only to develop gangrene soon after. Over the next year, he underwent multiple skin grafts, 10 operations, and had to have half of his thumb and 2 toes amputated. Can you imagine? It wasn't his best year. Perhaps even worse than 2020 for him. Today, the actor has fully recovered and has found a new appreciation for life with a career that is yet to slow down. So, wow. Number 7. Billy Mays was a superstar in the infomercial world, pitching items such as OxyClean. The energy he expelled to audiences was exuberant enough to keep one's attention in the wee hours of the morning. Sadly, the liveliness he exemplified burnt out at age 50 on June 28, 2009. With questions still remaining as to why. Many speculate that it was the result of a head injury sustained as a passenger on a U.S. Airways flight the day prior to his death. According to reports, the plane hit the runway extremely hard upon landing, resulting in one of the tires to blow out. The force of the impact caused baggage and other items from the overhead compartment to fly out, some striking Mays in the head. Following the incident, Mays recounted the events to a local TV reporter describing his injury, jokingly stating, "I got a hard head." That evening, he told his family he wasn't feeling well and retired to his bedroom. Mays was found dead in his bed the next morning, although rumors continue to circulate as to the exact cause of death. What is known is that he had heart disease as well as a history of cocaine use. Whether or not these two contributed to his untimely demise, well, You be the judge. Number 6 on our list today is the ShamWow guy. Vince Offer, known as the spiky-haired ShamWow guy, was known for his shticky jokes and sexual innuendos. With tremendous success, however, came a life of nonstop partying to the extent that he would make Charlie Sheen proud. All of the exuberance would come to a sudden halt in 2009 after a 12-hour drinking binge with a prostitute. At some point in the evening, the lovely couple got into a fight, leading to the woman biting Offer's tongue, refusing to let go. Eventually, he was freed from the grips of her teeth only after plummeting her in the face. Plummeting? I don't think plummeting's the right word. Pummeling her, maybe, in the face with his fists, as if he was channeling Mike Tyson. The romantic evening came to an end in the back of a police car, with both parties being charged for aggravated battery. Surprisingly, Offer had a comeback 4 years after his infamous sex scandal slugfest. Determined to clean up his act, he began pitching a new product, a 6-in-1 kitchen cleaner named the Invincible. Oh, Vince. These days, Offer is remaking himself and cutting back only an occasional glass of wine. Number 5 on the list today, the Heart Attack Grill. They say any publicity is good publicity, right? But what about when someone dies in your establishment? Well, this is what happened at the Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas when 52-year-old John Alleman, spokesman for the restaurant, dropped dead of, you guessed it, a heart attack. The Heart Attack Grill is famous for serving unhealthy dishes such as his quadruple bypass burger and flatliner fries served to you by staff dressed in nurses and doctors' uniforms. Alleman was a fixture at the Hag, as they like to call it, with his face on menus, appearing in commercials, and even receiving his own Patient John clothing line. Interestingly enough, Alleman's death comes 1 year after another patron died while eating the 6,000-calorie triple bypass burger. As he clenched his chest, gasping for air, patrons believed it was a publicity stunt. And like many people these days, they stood around with their cell phones filming him take his last breath. And if that weren't enough, a woman suffered a similar incident 2 months later while eating the double bypass burger. The first Heart Attack Grill opened in Chandler, Arizona in 2008, but closed its doors in 2011 after the death of its 29-year-old, 575-pound spokesman, Blair River. In closing, if you're ever in Vegas and you want to gamble with your arteries instead of money, Heart Attack Grill is the place to be. Oh, yeah. And if you weigh over 350 pounds, your meal is free. Unbelievable. Number 4 on this list is Orville Redenbacher. Popcorn icon Orville Redenbacher, known for his red bow tie and cheerful commercials. Had his first buttery taste of success in 1971. That year, Chicago's department store, Marshall Fields, became the only retailer carrying his product. Soon after, Redenbacher's gourmet popcorn and wholesome image were seen in stores throughout the country. For a gentle and genuine man reminiscent of a grandfather, Redenbacher met an unflattering end in the jacuzzi of his condominium. And his lifeless body was discovered floating in 1995. Medical examiners were bewildered, questioning if there was foul play. Then again, he was 88 years old, and upon autopsy, it was reported that he had had a heart attack and subsequently drowned. Today, Redenbacher remains the leading brand among microwave popcorns. I guess there's worse ways to go. Number 3 on this list is Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders was continues to be one of the most iconic figures in franchise history, and he had quite an interesting life before his success with KFC. In 1932, Sanders was operating a service station across the street from another. To promote his business, Sanders painted advertisements on overpasses and on the side of barns, This advertising strategy angered Matt Stewart, the owner of the other service station, leading him to paint over Sanders' signage. When Sanders became aware of this, he had two of his employees confront Stewart. He and two of his employees confronted Stewart. Moments later, a gunfight ensued, leading to the death of one of Sanders' men who had been shot through the heart. Sanders immediately returned fire, wounding Stewart, bringing an end to the carnage. Sanders and his surviving employee were cleared by authorities, while Stewart, on the other hand, was convicted but appealed. Nevertheless, Stewart would ultimately be shot and killed in another altercation a few years later. Upon hearing the news of his death, the kind-hearted colonel offered Stewart's daughter, Ona Mae, his sincere condolences as well as financial support. Ironically, the two would become dear friends for the remainder of his life. In addition, Ona Mae went on to manage Sanders' Cafe in 1940 and became a partner in the KFC franchise. So talk about burying the hatchet. That's how you do it. Number 2 on this list. Her name may not come to mind, but Judith Barcy had an impressive list of credits in the short years that she was alive, appearing in several films, including Jaws: The Revenge. The majority of Barry's work was in over 50 commercials throughout the 1980s. The little starlet was on the rise when her life was violently taken by the hands of her own father. On July 25th, 1988, 10-year-old Judith was asleep in her bed when her father, in an alcohol-induced rage, shot her in the head. He then murdered his wife in the hallway of the home. And he spent the next 2 days in the house before pouring gasoline on their bodies, setting them ablaze, and ultimately shooting himself in the head. Though it's been 3 decades, the current owners of the home believe that Judith present still remains. Soon after the Bernal family moved in, they began feeling a constant dark presence and noticed cold spots for no explanation at all. In addition, the Bernal's daughter, Gabby, began suffering horrific nightmares while sleeping in the same bedroom where Judith was murdered. The garage door would open and close by itself at all hours of the day, and footsteps would roam the halls at night. Now, whether or not you're a skeptic in the paranormal, the Bernal family undoubtedly believes the little Pitch Girl's spirit still walks the halls of the house, unable to let go of the past. The moral of that story is, don't buy murder houses. You couldn't sell me a murder house for $5. Sorry. You better not ever let me find out that somebody was murdered in that house. You couldn't pay me to move into a murder house that I know about, knowingly moving into a murder house. Now you trick me, or you know, I don't know. That's different. But for being fully conscious of purchasing and moving my life and family into a murder house? No, sir. And finally, number 1 on this list, it wouldn't be a list of crazy spokespeople if we didn't have Jared from Subway. Well, let's not pretend that we didn't see this infamous pervert making the list. Jared Fogle, the one-time sole spokesman for Subway, and a sex-crazed 38-year-old whose true appetite was not foot-long subs, but minors. Following a raid at his home in 2015, the FBI recovered around 400 child pornography videos that included children as young as 6. Unbelievable. Following a lengthy interrogation, Fogle admitted to traveling across state lines to pay minors for sex. In addition, he would often pay underage prostitutes to find kids for him. Before his sentencing, Fogle stated to the court that he will learn from his recent experience and won't commit these crimes again. In the end, the former mascot of Subway was ordered to pay $1.4 million in restitution to 14 victims and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Sick, man. And that is the JNC Top 10 list today. Wild stuff. All household names. And Crazy tough. We're all human, I suppose. We're all just out here living our lives. Am I right? Am I right? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Paul and Philip holding down the fort, of course, in the chat rooms. You guys should talk to them if you're tuning in and keep them company in the chat rooms. Of course, we always have the hotline open, 772-888-1596. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the question that you've all been dying to know the answer to. I know it's true. Can turtles really breathe through their butts? Find out next here on JNC in the morning.
Sorry I can't stay, and I can see it in your face. Start to wonder if I am really worth your time. What can I say since that I never feel in place? Tell me why pieces just too hard to find. Don't wanna lose this chance with you. Got something I got left to do. Promise it won't take too long and I'll be back real soon. The stars will align, just give me till the next full moon. Can't say I'm surprised by the silence in your eyes. I know you think you must be such a fool. I'm telling you no lies. Gonna see alibis. Just gonna put away all of my ghosts and goals. Don't wanna lose this chance with you. I got something I got left to tell. Promise it won't take too long and I'll be back real soon. The stars will align, just give me till the next full moon. The stars will align, just give me till the next full moon. Hey! Promise I'll be back and don't you worry about this. Nothing can keep me away from you. But if you can't wait, then I will understand your pain. And I'll be so quietly with you. Don't want to lose this chance with you. Got something I got left to do. Promise it won't take too long and I'll be back real soon. The stars will align, just give me till the next full moon. I don't wanna lose this chance with you. I got something I got left to do. Promise it won't take too long and
responsible in the name of fun. I could tell that she was dangerous, walking around with a list of victims that could not resist attitude inside her thigh. Like a dog underneath that's off the leash, all my money on her drinks. Never did I think that she'll take me for a ride. She's a wild, wild girl. Tequila shots, hot rods, and rock and roll. Like a deer in the headlights, I was blind. Call me a lucky man, 'cause that girl, she's mine. Well, trouble is a middle name, skin and dipping in the lake. She's a habit I can break, addicted to the rush. She's a beam, a line, a perfect mess. The thought of her getting undressed will leave a man possessed, just yearning for a touch. Wild, wild girl. Whiskey neat, fast cars, and rock and roll. Like a deer in the headlights, I was blind. Call me a lucky man, 'cause that girl, she's mine. Vision on the neon lights, one look at you hypnotized. She can keep it up all night when she takes the floor. She will always steal the show, a bombshell that will make you blow. She's the one that knows that you'll be begging for more. Wild, wild girl. Tequila shots, hot rods, and rock and roll. Wild, wild girl. Whiskey neat, fast cars, and rock and roll. Like a deer in the headlights, I was blind. Call me a lucky man, 'cause the girl, she's mine. Yeah, she's mine.
All right, that's Vern Tazel with Wild Girl. Love him, man. His music's great. The question you all have been waiting for, the answer to. I know that most of you wake up each morning, look yourselves in the mirror and ask, can turtles really breathe through their butts? I know I do. And now I have an answer for you, so we can move on. A more productive question, I suppose. Everyone knows that most mammals breathe through their mouth and nose. Frogs, meanwhile, can breathe through their skin. What about turtles? How do these hard-shelled critters get oxygen? Well, you may have heard a strange rumor that turtles can breathe through their butts, but is it true? Philip says I may backdraft from time to time like that. Well, you guys, technically, turtles do not breathe through their derrieres. No, that's because turtles don't have butts. Instead, they have a multi-purpose opening known as a cloaca, which is used for sexual reproduction, egg laying, as well as for expelling waste. However, they do engage in a process called cloacal respiration, which could, in a less technical sense, be interpreted as butt breathing. During cloacal respiration, turtles pump water through their cloacal openings and into two sac-like organs known as bursae, which act sort of like aquatic lungs. Craig Franklin, a wildlife psychologist, or physiologist rather, at the University of Queensland in Australia, who has extensively studied cloacal respiration, told Live Science. Oxygen in the water then diffuses across the papillae, which are small structures that line the walls of the bursae, and into the turtle's bloodstream. However, cloacal respiration is very inefficient compared with normal aerobic respiration, and all turtles who have the capacity to breathe air with their lungs, all turtles also have the capacity to breathe air with their lungs much more easily. As a result, cloacal respiration is seen only in a small number of freshwater species that rely on this unorthodox method to overcome challenges they face in unique environments, where it is hard to breathe air, such as fast-flowing rivers or frozen ponds. They are cloacal champions. The main turtle group that has truly mastered cloacal respiration is river turtles. Now, globally, there are around a dozen river turtles that can properly utilize cloacal respiration, around half of which live in rivers in Australia. These include the Mary River turtle and the white-throated snapping turtle. However, some species of river turtles are much better at cloacal respiration than others. The undisputed champion is the Fitzroy river turtle from Australia, which can derive 100% of its energy through cloacal respiration. This allows them to potentially remain underwater indefinitely. For all other species, cloacal respiration only extends the amount of time they can stay underwater until they must resurface for air. For example, instead of diving underwater for 15 minutes while holding their breath, they can remain underwater for several hours, he said. This, of course, is Mr. Franklin. The ability to stay underwater for extended periods of time is extremely useful for river turtles because going to the surface can be hard work. For a turtle that lives in a fast-flowing water, going to the surface to breathe represents a bit of an issue because you can get swept away. Staying close to the riverbed also makes it easier to avoid predators such as crocodiles. Avoiding predators is particularly important for baby turtles, which can be targeted by birds and large fish. The great risk of predation for a hatchling turtle is swimming through the water column to the surface. As a result, juveniles are normally much better at cloacal respiration than adults, which allows them to spend more time near the riverbed until they are big enough to start venturing more frequently to the surface. Therefore, it is possible that additional river turtle species are also capable of cloacal respiration as juveniles, but then lose the ability later in life. However, cloacal respiration is much less efficient than aerobic respiration because pumping water into the bursae requires a lot of energy, which reduces the net gain of energy the turtles receive. And when we breathe air, there's virtually no energy required because gases are light and flow freely in and out of our lungs. But imagine trying to breathe a viscous liquid back and forth. Water also has around 200 times less oxygen than an equal volume of air, so turtles have to pump more of it to gain the same amount of oxygen. There's also another cost to cloacal respiration. When oxygen diffuses across the skin of the bursae and into the bloodstream, sodium and chloride ions inside the papillae, which are vital to the functioning of cells, diffuse in the opposite direction into the water, which stops the cells from functioning properly. To counteract this, the turtles have evolved special pumps that suck the lost ions back into the cells to maintain normal ion levels. The process known as osmoregulation requires additional energy, thus further reducing the net gain of energy from cloacal respiration. What if they're stuck under the ice? There's also around 6 or 7 species of hibernating freshwater turtles across North America that are capable of a more limited form of cloacal respiration. These species, such as the Blanding's turtle, spend months trapped beneath layers of ice that cover ponds during the winter. Some of these turtles are under the ice for more than 100 days without being able to take a single breath of air. Instead, these turtles can also take up oxygen through the bursae, as well as by gargling water in their throats, which is known as buccal pumping. However, the cloacal respiration displayed by hibernating turtles is much less complex than what river turtles are capable of. Instead of actively pumping water into their bursae like the river-dwelling relatives do, the hibernating turtles take up oxygen that passively diffuses across the skin of the bursae. This process is more like cutaneous or cutaneous respiration. A lot of respiration. When oxygen diffuses through an animal's skin, which happens in amphibians, reptiles, and in limited capacity, some mammals, including humans. Hibernating turtles get away with this passive form of cloacal respiration because they have a greatly reduced metabolic rate, which means they need less energy and therefore less oxygen. While they are under the ice, these turtles do not move around very much, keep their body temperature close to freezing, and can switch to anaerobic respiration, a last resort for creating energy without oxygen when they are low on oxygen. So there you go. The question is, can turtles really breathe through their butts? And the answer is turtles don't have butts. They don't have butts. That's what we learned from this article. Interesting stuff. Turtles are cool. And with that, I'm going to hit you with some shameless plugs and then let you get on with your day. As mentioned earlier, tonight I will be at Blue Point Bar and Grill in Tequesta, Florida, starting at 6 p.m. and rocking on till right around 9 o'clock, if all goes well. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, at Crawdaddy's in Jensen Beach, there is a benefit concert for Glenn Whalen, a local musician and a great guitarist. And I'm actually going to pull up. I actually want to pull up the flyer so I can read it a little bit more, a little easier. Let me just pull it up here. But that's kicking off tomorrow. Glenn recently was diagnosed with cancer, and so we're just trying to raise a little bit of jingle for him, make sure that that he's able to keep doing what he's doing and doing it well. Yes, let's see here. It's a fundraiser to benefit Glenn Whalen at Crawdaddy's Grill in Jensen Beach. That's tomorrow, Tuesday, kicking off at 3 o'clock and going all the way into the evening hours. Live music, of course, all day. Glenn Whalen has been a fixture on the Treasure Coast music scene for decades, and he's having some serious health issues that are keeping him off the stage. So a group of musicians and Mark Cran, the owner of Crawdaddy's, are donating their talents to help raise money to help Glenn out. You'll have live music from Scott Benj, Chris King, Andrew Scott, Delta Dave, The Shakers, and Hurricane Hawk and the Invaders all throughout the day. So come out for a great time, good food, drink specials, raffles, and the all-star musical event of the year at Crawdaddy's to benefit Glenn Whalen, who's, on top of this, Glenn lost his son a while back. So this is, guy's been through enough. So we're coming together to help him out. I'm going to try to get out there at some point tomorrow night to show my support, and you should too if you're around. But yeah, I'm sure that there's a GoFundMe up or something. I don't have the link for that, but I will find out for sure. This week on the Jams and Cocktails podcast, we have a good one. We have a musical guest, Ricky B, awesome singer-songwriter and loop artist, and he'll be on the podcast this Wednesday night live, 8 p.m. We're going to talk about his story, his music, his efforts during the pandemic, which were really, really amazing. And just a super cool dude to boot. So we're going to talk to him. Our next game show is coming up this month. Our game show edition. We're going to be taking the classic game show Password and pitting some of our celebrity guests against one another for all the glory in Password. If you don't know about Password, go and YouTube it and search it out. Really fun game show. So we'll be playing that coming up in the coming weeks once we get it all sorted out. I'm getting some news, some breaking news. Today is Paul's birthday. Paul from the Drums and Rums podcast. Happy birthday, Paul. We're going to have a drink later. Be sure to check out the Drums and Rums podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, very interesting guests and content that Paul puts together for those podcasts. So if you love drums and you love rums, or you just like a good time and you like to learn new things, check out the Drums and Rums podcast. Of course, our friends at Code Rum. Be sure to check out their products. I just want to harp once again on the Live365 Radio App. It's completely free from your favorite app store. And you can find JNC Radio on there where you can listen to this morning's show if you're driving or, it's just more suitable to have an audio-only version. It's the premier way to listen to the show because we actually we paid licensing fees to have music there. So, it's always walking the line here when we broadcast on YouTube. But over there on the Live365 app, we're all on the up and up. So go check it out. And, of course, search JNC Radio and bookmark us there so you can come right to us. And yeah. Well, I hope to see you guys out at Blue Point. If not, I'll see you back here first thing tomorrow morning right here on YouTube or the Live365 app. Hope you enjoy your Monday. Hit the Monday blues. Who needs them? It's another week. Grateful to be on this side of the dirt. You guys signing off here. Jams of Coffee in the Morning. I'm Brad Brock. Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon.
Tune in again tomorrow morning for the latest local buzz, national headlines, music news and more on JNC in the Morning, right here on Facebook and YouTube.